performs the Rasa-lila. So Jahnavi requested this katha to be on the Rasa-lila. So it's imperative that you please be serious. Okay? This is very, very elevated subject matter. And if you're not serious about it, then I'm going to stop. Serious and sincere is what's required. This is the quintessence of Srimad Bhagavatam. It doesn't get any higher than this. So, here's how it works. What I have printed out are the 5 chapter summaries that are given in the ISKCON Srimad Bhagavatam. These are not summaries written by Srila Prabhupada. They were written by Hridayananda Goswami, Dravida, and Gopi Paranadhana. But nevertheless, it's bona fide. So we're going to read these chapter summaries. I will make appropriate comments, and then we will sing the Gopi Gita. Those of you who know the Gopi Gita will sing it together, and those who know it can lead. All right, let's fold our hands and repeat the sacred mantra. Where's Damodar? Damodar, come. Come on. Now is the time for you. Where's the mic? Go get your mic. Take it over there. This is your shot. Are you ready, Damodar? I'm waiting for you. Okay, get close. You have to eat the mic. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You have to do it with the same speed as everybody. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I've printed out the sheets so that you follow along. That's why we print out, so you can follow along. So there are 5 chapters which deal with this Rasa-lila. There are 18,000 shlokas in Bhagavatam. And the whole Bhagavatam is leading up to these 5 chapters. And the Gopi Gita is the preeminent chapter. There are 335 chapters in the Bhagavatam. This one that we're going to sing, Gopi Gita, is the crown jewel of all the chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam. This night is so auspicious. It is very, very beneficial that you have come to this program tonight. You will get so many blessings just by participating. Are we ready? If yes, say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So chapter 29, Krishna and the gopis meet for the rasa dance. This chapter describes how Lord Sri Krishna, intending to enjoy the rasa dance, engaged in arguments and counter-arguments with the gopis. Then there is a description of the beginning of the rasa dance and the Lord's pastime of disappearing from the midst of the gopis. Is there a problem? Okay. Remembering the promise he had made to the gopis when he had stolen their clothes, Lord Krishna employed his Yoga Maya potency and manifested within himself the desire to enjoy pastimes during an autumn night. So, that pastime of Krishna stealing the garments of the gopis was 1 year prior. The gopis for 1 month had worshipped goddess Katyayani. And all of them privately, without letting the others know, prayed, I want Krishna as my husband. Krishna, being super soul, knew. That's why he did that pastime of stealing their clothes, and he played with them and joked with them and embarrassed them. And he told them, in 1 year, your desire will be fulfilled. So that is what this night is. Because Krishna performs the rasa dance not out of any lusty desire. He performs the rasa dance to satisfy the gopis' desire, not for any personal. So that's one check, how you cannot accuse Krishna of any wrongdoing. Because we just said Krishna is in the heart, correct? So this whole rasa dance, all Krishna is doing is coming out of the heart and manifesting outside. Krishna is the wife of everyone. He's right there in your heart. What is the problem? So instead of sitting inside the gopi's heart, he came out. That's all the rasa dance is. Let's continue. Thus he began to play his flute. When the gopis heard the flute sound, the impulses of Cupid were violently aroused within them. That is not material Cupid. That's spiritual Cupid, Krishna. Those of you who chant Gayatri mantras, you know there is this Kamadev Gayatri. All right? That Kamadev Gayatri mantra is so powerful. If you chant it perfectly, you will get Krishna. But can you chant perfectly? That's the key. So, this Cupid is transcendental, not material. And they immediately abandoned all their household duties and went to Krishna. Listen to this. All the gopis had purely spiritual bodies. But when some of the gopis' husbands and other family members stopped the young girls from going, Lord Krishna arranged for them to temporarily exhibit material bodies, which they then left at the sides of their husbands. In this way, they deceived their relatives and went off to meet Krishna. In other words, during the whole rasa dance, those gopis who were married were right there with their husbands there. The gopis danced with Krishna, as it says here, spiritual bodies. The husbands were home with their wives. Nothing happening here. But the real gopis, they went to dance with Krishna. One more point. Here, it was a generalization. The gopis had purely spiritual bodies. In this rasa dance, there's 3 levels of gopis who are attending. One is the eternal associates, Radharani and her associates. Then there's another group. They are being promoted to the status of gopis. For instance, the sages who approached Ramachandra in the forest, and they approached him saying, we want to have a conjugal relationship with you. And Ram told them, I can't. Eka Patni Vrata. Ram took the vow, one wife. So Ram told those sages, in my next appearance, your desire will be satisfied. So those sages who approached Ram in the Dandakarana, they took birth in the womb of these gopis, and from birth they were being trained just for this night. Another group of gopis being promoted were certain daughters of demigods and also the personified Vedas. So some were being promoted and some are the eternal associates. So what does that tell you? You can be promoted if you want. And Prabhupada says on the classic, you remember Krishna Prema a couple of years ago, I played that Prabhupada explanation of Jai Radha Madhav. And what did Prabhupada said? The goal of the Krishna consciousness movement is to become one of the Gopi Janas. That's ISKCON, folks. ISKCON is not buildings and politics and all. No. It's about becoming one of the Gopi Janas. Again, not so easy to do. You have to qualify. Let's continue. When the gopis came before Lord Krishna, he asked, "Why have you come? It is not good for you to travel to such a place in the dead of night, for this forest is full of violent creatures. Your husbands and children will soon come searching after you to bring you home and engage you again in your household duties. After all, the prime religious duty of a woman is to serve her husband and children." And Prabhupada makes the comment in Krishna book. Krishna here is serious. He's teaching everyone, using the gopis as an example. So what he says here, the prime religious duty of a woman is to serve the husband and the children. For a respectable woman to consort with the paramour is totally contemptible and is sure to obstruct her progress to heaven. Moreover, one does not develop pure love for me by physical proximity. This is another important point Krishna is saying here. Just because you're close to Krishna doesn't necessarily mean you develop love for Krishna. You all know, many people come to the temple, but we don't see them developing love of Krishna. It's not that I am first online and there is me and Krishna. We all know those kinds of people. They have to be first. So what is Krishna saying here? Love for me, not by physical proximity, but by hearing topics connected with me. This is the same thing Krishna spoke a few chapters ago, the wives of the Vedic Brahmins. They were pure devotees, those wives. So when the cowherd boys came and said, "We are here, we're hungry," and they mentioned Krishna and Balaram, they immediately packed all the food and they personally brought it. Not that they gave it to the cowherd boys. They personally went. And what did they say? We know the philosophy. We are ready to surrender and take full shelter of you. And the Shastras say that if we do that, you have to accept us. They were finished with their husbands, because their husbands were not pure devotees, but they were. So they were very intelligent. They said, "Krishna, we know if somebody surrenders, Sharanam, you have to give us shelter." But Krishna convinced them, no. And he said the same thing. The same thing about attachment for me is not by physical proximity. Said the same thing. So, by hearing topics connected with me, by viewing my deity form in the temple, by meditating upon me, and by faithfully chanting my glories. Let's chant. Therefore, all of you would do best to return home. So Krishna is playing with them. First he plays the flute, which is irresistible. As the description is there, whatever they were doing, they dropped immediately. Didn't matter what they were doing, cooking, cleaning, whatever. They heard the flute, boom, gone. Nobody could, even their husbands, some of them were trying to check. They gave up their life out of desperation. Oh, I can't go see Krishna. Ah. But they went in their spiritual bodies. Nothing can check Krishna consciousness. Favorite story, when the devotees got arrested in Australia and they wrote to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you told us to chant. We did, and now we're in jail. Prabhupada wrote back, what's the problem? Chant in the jail. They chanted in the jail, and they said, get out of here. We can't take you guys anymore. So there's no material check for getting Krishna. So Krishna is teasing them. He plays the flute knowing he's going to attract them. And what does he say? You can go home now. You've seen the nice scenery, nice moon, full moon. Okay, go home. The gopis were crestfallen to hear this. And after crying a little, they replied with a bit of anger. Can you blame them for being angry? No. It is very unfair for you to reject young girls who have abandoned everything in their lives and come to you with the exclusive desire to serve you. That's key. They also do not have material lust. They want to serve Krishna. Service to Krishna is not material. Whatever service you do for Krishna, just like Meena, for so many years you did service, Radharaman service, right? Right? For so many years. That service to Krishna was your ultimate benediction. Service to Krishna is what it's all about. By serving our husbands and children, we receive only pain. Whereas by serving you, the dearmost soul of all living beings, we will perfectly fulfill the true religious duty of the self. What woman will not deviate from her prescribed duties as soon as she hears your flute song and sees your form, which enchants the three worlds? That's a fact. Any one of us, if we actually could hear Krishna's flute, nothing could check you from going and following that sound. It's that powerful. The sound of Krishna's flute is all powerful. And Prabhupada points out, where is the sound of that flute? It's in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's one of the billion reasons why we chant. Prabhu, how long should I chant? Answer, till you hear Krishna's flute. If you haven't heard Krishna's flute, you better keep on chanting, Prabhu. Let's chant. Just as the Supreme Lord Vishnu protects the demigods, you destroy the unhappiness of the people of Vrindavan. Therefore, you should immediately relieve the torment we have felt because of separation from you. And Lord Chaitanya teaches that feeling of separation from Krishna, that's the highest spiritual emotion. Even higher than having direct contact and union with Krishna. Just that feeling of separation, that's the highest. Wanting to please the gopis, Lord Krishna, who is always satisfied in himself, Atma Ram. That's one of Krishna's descriptions, Atma Ram. He's always satisfied in himself. As Prabhupada writes, He doesn't need anyone or anything to satisfy him. He is self-satisfied. So, wanting to please the gopis, responded to their appeals by playing with them in various pastimes. But when this show of attention made them a little proud, he humbled them by suddenly disappearing from the arena of the rasa dance. You cannot fault the gopis for becoming proud. If you were dancing with Krishna, you would also think, I am the most fortunate living entity. That was their pride. You can't blame them for that. But Krishna is teaching them and using the gopis as a way to teach us what Lord Chaitanya teaches us. What do we wear around our neck for constant remembrance? Trinadapi, humility, humility. That is the ornament of the devotee. You want to know who to associate with? Look for the humble devotees. Those are the ones to seek out their association. The ones who are constantly rendering service, and they are always meek and humble. Now you found good devotee. So, the description was that there are all these gopis, and Krishna is manifesting between each two gopis. And in the middle, Radha and Krishna, surrounded by all these, so many gopis. But Radha and Krishna are the middle because, as we learned from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Radha is the binding link. Without Radha, no rasa dance. Canceled. Rain check. The only reason the rasa dance can happen, Radha has to be there. So, after some dancing, Radha is thinking, I'm not getting enough personal attention. She starts to leave, and when Radha starts to leave, Krishna follows. Simultaneously, the gopis became proud, and so Krishna disappeared from them and went deep into the forest with Radharani. Let's go to the next chapter. So far, so good? Are you getting absorbed? Are you feeling something transcendental? Okay. This chapter describes how the gopis, tormented through the long night by separation from Krishna, wandered like mad women from forest to forest in search of Krishna. When Sri Krishna suddenly disappeared from the arena of the rasa dance, the gopis, their minds fully absorbed in thoughts of him, began looking for him in the various forests. From all the moving and non-moving creatures, they asked for news of Krishna's whereabouts. Finally, they became so distraught that they began imitating his pastimes. Later, while wandering in a corner of the forest, the gopis saw Krishna's footprints, which appeared mixed with Srimati Radharani's. Seeing these footprints perturbed them greatly, and they declared, surely Srimati Radharani must have worshipped Krishna with unusual excellence, since she had been privileged to associate with him in seclusion. And this is the only reference in the Bhagavatam to the name Radha. You will not find the name Radha in all the 18,000 shlokas. Only in this connection. The word used is Anyaradita. This is where Radharani gets this name. The one who worships Krishna the best. Don't feel bad. Okay? The position is already taken. But you can become, what does Lord Chaitanya say? Servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. Just like we sing every day the prayers to the spiritual master. Why is he so special? He assists the gopis in their service to Radha and Krishna. That's why the spiritual master is so elevated. He's an assistant. So we can become assistant of the assistant of the assistant. Further along the path, the gopis came to a place where they could no longer see Srimati Radharani's footprints. They then concluded that Krishna must have taken Radharani onto his shoulders. In another place, they noticed that Krishna's footprints were showing only the toes, and thus the gopis concluded he had been picking flowers with which to decorate his beloved. In yet another spot, the gopis saw signs that led them to imagine that Sri Krishna had been tying the locks of Srimati Radharani's hair. All these thoughts brought pain to the gopis' minds. Because of special attention she received from Krishna, Sri Radha began to consider herself the most fortunate of women. She told them that she could walk no further and that he would have to carry her on his shoulders. But just then, Lord Krishna disappeared from her sight. As Prabhupada explains, Radharani said, I'm so tired. I can't go anymore. Krishna said, okay, come on my back. And as soon as Radharani attempted, Krishna disappeared. And Radharani immediately realized, this is my mistake. But just then, Lord Krishna disappeared from her sight. Srimati Radharani, extremely troubled, then began looking everywhere for Krishna. And when she finally met her gopi girlfriends, she related to them what had happened. All the gopis then went out to look for Krishna in the forest, going as far as the moonlight reached. But in the end, they were unsuccessful. So they went back to the shore of the Yamuna and simply sang Krishna's glories in utter helplessness. So they did a Namahat program on the bank of the Yamuna, because all they were doing is praying, Krishna, come. All right, let's go now to chapter 31. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra.